Koto, welcome to the first of our free webinars, Engage, Share, Grow, Telling Your Catchment Story with Social Media. My name is Tracy Perkins. I'm the Canterbury Catchment Coordinator for New Zealand Landcare Trust, and I live on a dairy farm in Darfield, Canterbury. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. We cannot see or hear you. This is a lunch break webinar, so please feel free to eat, drink, adjust your body to be comfortable in your seat, get up and walk around while listening. The invitation is to join us, and this is your lunch break, so please be comfortable. Take a moment to orient yourself in the space where you are. You may be at work, you may be in a shed or at home or anything in between. So please note your nearest exit and just take a moment to have a quick think about where your meeting location may be if there was an emergency while we're on the call. So the layout for these webinars is that we're going to be holding two. One is today and one is tomorrow. They're between 12 and 1 p.m. The recordings are going to be made available on the New Zealand Landcare Trust YouTube channel. So please feel free to go on there and share the link to anybody who may be interested. So today the Q&A box is going to be open for the entire session. Please ask questions as they come to you. And then at the end of this session and tomorrow's, we're going to take about 10 minutes to answer your questions. Today, I am very excited to introduce you to Ashley. I met Ashley probably about 10 years ago, and I have watched her build a trusted and known brand, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she has in store for us today. Ashley Rushton is the owner of Rushton Marketing, a busy digital marketing agency in Ashburton. For the last decade, Rushton Marketing has helped countless businesses achieve their goals through clever, creative marketing. If you're ready for measurable results from your marketing without the big agency fees, then they're your girls. Over to you, Ashley.
Hi, okay. Thank you everybody for joining us today. I will just go ahead and get started if you like. So I'll go ahead and quickly share my screen with you. Tracy, can you just confirm that you can see that okay there?
Yes, no problems.
Cool. Alrighty. So I am Ashley from Rushton Marketing. We are, as Tracy said, a small but dynamic digital marketing agency based here in Ashburton. We cover a few different areas. We are marketing managers for different businesses around the country. We build websites. We do branding and logo development. We do Google Ads and email marketing. And probably 70% of what we do in our daily lives is stare into the abyss that is social media. So we do social media content for different businesses, we run social media ads, and we also do training like we are today. So today we're going to be talking about Meta. So whenever I say Meta, I'm referring to Facebook and Instagram. Today, we're going to hopefully make it to content. So first, we're going to talk about why we should be using social media for our brands and organizations. We'll talk a little bit about followers and what they want to see from us as brands on social media. We'll talk about the algorithms and how they work and how we can adapt to them. We'll talk about how to set up accounts as well. So if you're out there at the moment and you don't currently have a business Facebook or a business Instagram account, I'll provide some links for them. And then hopefully tomorrow we'll get stuck into content. So we'll be talking about different types of posts, how to create content, how to edit content. We'll talk about Reels, we'll talk about Meta Business Suite, and then we'll talk about how to post and how to kind of be organized with what you're posting. So let's get stuck in. Very quickly, like Tracy said, if you have any Q&A sort of throughout the webinar, feel free to just type that in the box and we'll circle back to that at the end of the session. If there's anything else I can follow up with after the webinar, I can make contact with you directly as well. Okay, so why should we be using social media? First of all, the massive wide reach that we have with social media. Social media allows us to communicate with our target customers very quickly and allows us to communicate with a lot of people for no cost. It's also really good for brand building and awareness. So regularly posting content that resonates with your audience helps build your brand awareness and establish your brand's identity. And it's also really good for engagement and interaction. So before social media, businesses could only communicate with, their target customers in a one-way channel, right? So you had one way of communicating with people, but they didn't have an opportunity to communicate back to you and have a more of a conversational piece with you. So social media provides opportunities for your target customers and your stakeholders to interact and engage back with you so you can have more conversations with them. That is a really good way to build relationships and foster loyalty for yourself as well. Another great thing about why we can use social media as part of our marketing is the access to data and the analytics that social media provides us. So there's tools in the back end of your Facebook and Instagram accounts that lets you see who your audience is that's following you, and if the people following you are who you want to be following you, so ages, genders, locations, then that's great. But it also gives you an opportunity to see if the people following you are not who you necessarily want. I'll give an example of that. So we looked after the RSA here in Ashburton a few years ago, and we could see that the target audience following their Facebook page was sort of a slightly older generation. You know, that was quite typical of the RSA. But what their main plan was for the next couple of years was to introduce the brand to younger audiences. So part of our challenge with content and ads was to try and skew the demographics down to a younger audience. And because the data and the analytics are there, we were able to, sort of show them that shift in demographics through what we were doing. It also lets you see, how your content's performing. So when you do a post, you'll be able to see how many people looked at it, how many people, touched it or clicked it, how many people engaged with it. So having access to all of that data allows you to refine your strategies and only produce content that the audience is actually interested in seeing. This then helps you optimize your efforts for better results, because at the end of the day, even though you're running organic social media, it's not costing you anything from a monetary perspective. It is still costing you your time, and you want to make sure that your time is being well spent. I popped competitive advantage in there. So today, it's almost expected that every single brand on the planet has a social media presence. Yeah, so consumers kind of expect that you've got something there, and they will go to Facebook and Instagram to find you. And if they can't find you, it's a bit of a black mark kind of against your brand's name. This one's probably more appropriate for more of those businesses side of things, but it does drive sales as well. So I'll let you in on a wee secret. So we've been in business for 10 years now. We've grown our business by a certain percentage year on year. It's doing really well. And it was only this year that I started actually spending any money on my own marketing. So all of that growth in the last 9 years was only from organic content, was from us posting on our Facebook and posting on our Instagram accounts. So you can certainly drive sales through really clever organic content that you're posting on Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram users, just a few stats here to kind of let you know who's using Facebook and Instagram, that type of thing. So average monthly users on Facebook, we're sitting at about 3 billion. Instagram has got about 2 billion average monthly users, and then TikTok's following behind at 1.2 billion. TikTok has experienced massive, massive growth over the last couple of years, and it's certainly not one to be overlooked. However, Facebook and Instagram still do hold those biggest audiences captive there. The average post engagement rates at the moment, so Instagram is sitting at a post engagement rate of between 2 and 3%. So for every person, however many people see that post, 2 to 3% of people are going to engage with that. On Facebook, it's a bit lower. So Facebook is sitting at 0.9% engagement rate. And also, it's really important to note that 98% of users access Facebook via their mobile devices. So a lot of what we're going to cover in the next, or in this session and tomorrow's session, is how to run your Facebook and Instagram from your phones. Hopefully you don't have to jump into your laptops to do a lot of these things, which makes it really accessible again for you to be able to quickly do a post and send it out from your phone while you're walking to your truck, while you're waiting for children to come out of school, things like that. So it makes it really easy for you to be able to achieve your specific goals. So just keep that in mind. Most people are on their phones looking at these things. We've got a bit of a quiz here. I can't obviously hear you, so I'll just ask the questions, give a few seconds for you to kind of think of what the answer might be, and then I'll reveal the answer. So what percentage of New Zealand population aged 18 or older are active on social media? Drum roll, please. 87%. So we have a massive population here in New Zealand who are active on social media, so certainly not to be overlooked. When it comes to the percentage split between male and female social media users, so 45% of social media users are male, 54% of social media users are female, and there's 1% there that's unspecified when it comes to gender. So while it's a relatively even split between male and female users, we do see that males and females tend to behave differently on social media from the outward sort of perspective. What we tend to see, and this is of course a generalization, is that the males tend to be lurkers on social media. So if your target audience is predominantly males, you'll probably feel sometimes that you're talking and you're doing posts and it's just crickets. It's not to mean they're not there, but males don't tend to outwardly put themselves out there in terms of liking, commenting, and sharing posts. When it comes to the females, it tends to be the females who are the ones doing those things. So the females are commenting on posts that, we're typically the ones who are sharing the birthday posts and the family photos and those sorts of things. So you may experience that, and you may notice that you tend to get more females engaging and commenting on your posts as opposed to males, but the males are certainly still there watching. How often do we all think we're checking our social media daily? So if you're sitting there with someone else at the moment, maybe have a quick chat amongst yourselves, and ask each other, how often do you think you do check your social media every day? And on average, we're checking social media every hour. So the average American checks their device 159 times a day. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a wee drink of water. Excuse me. What we've found in the last 10 years that I've been doing this is the way we use social media is in lots of little bite-sized chunks throughout the day. I'm going to have to mute myself while I cough. I do apologize.
We're still trying to get over that staggering figure, Ashley. That is huge. I almost want to get out the calculator and see what that works out per hour, because if you think about that figure of 159 times a day, we sleep for 8 hours of the day. So that's actually incredible.
I do apologize. Hopefully we're going to be fine for the rest of this. I'm getting over a really terrible cold and I cannot seem to shake this dry cough. Okay, next one. How long does the average Kiwi spend on social media a day? We're spending about 2 hours a day on social media. What we used to see is that there would be a spike in usage around 7 o'clock in the morning and around 7 o'clock at night, right? We were consuming chunks of sort of at the tail end and the beginning of the day. Now that 2 hours is made up of lots of frequent sort of checks throughout the day, which relates back to that stat before. I so apologize for this cough. Okay, what do we think the average age of a Facebook user is? It may or may not surprise you. The average age of a Facebook user is 38. So if your target customer is around that 38 years of age, then certainly Facebook is one that you want to be considering and thinking about. I'm so sorry. Let me mute one more second. Okay. So average age of Facebook users 38. Typically on Instagram, we see around 25 to 35 as the most topical, as the most active user there. And then TikTok is slightly younger, so sort of your 25 and unders. Okay, so when it comes to what users want from our brands, they want to feel connected to our brands. Connection breeds loyalty and loyalty impacts sales. Users also want to feel as if they know the people behind the logo. So people, not products, will win the hearts of your audience. And they also want to be informed of how products and services can help them. This is not the place for sales pitches. Tracy, do you mind for a second if I just run and really quickly grab a lozenge?
You're fine. Sorry, I was on mute just then. I was actually just looking up when Facebook was invented. So all of these figures are quite huge, but Zuckerberg launched Facebook on February the 4th, 2004. So it's been around for 20 years. And then I'll just check Instagram actually. And Instagram was created on the 6th of October 2010. So that is some pretty massive growth. And obviously within the last generation. So that means that there's been a lot of change in how we engage with customers and brands and everything over that time. Sorry, Ashley, we were just chatting about when Instagram and Facebook actually came to be, and it's not that long ago. And that sort of explains how much change we've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
brands and as consumers.
Yeah. So typically, like the people who are really active on Facebook at the moment are the ones who started with Facebook when it first began. And then kind of what happened was we all joined Facebook and everything was lovely. And then our parents joined Facebook. And then we went, oh, we don't want to be here now. Now we're going to jump over to Instagram. So that's why typically we see a younger audience over on Instagram and the 38 pluses over on the Facebook accounts. I've got my lozenges now. We have a few of them on supply if we need. How embarrassing. It's always the way. Okay. We're going to talk about the algorithm. So the algorithm is a set of rules specifying how a group of data behaves. So powerful sets of instructions that form the backbone of modern technology and govern everything from web searches to artificial intelligence. The purpose of the social media algorithms is to sort your feeds and give you a personalized news feed. So when you open up your Facebook and start scrolling down, the content you see on there is going to most of the time be completely different to what the person sitting next to you sees on their Facebook. And that's because the algorithm is trying to show you pieces of content that you are interested in to keep you on platform for longer so that, they can sell more advertising dollars and get more people over there. So the algorithm controls the order of what you see on your news feed. It determines what to show you based on your previous activity. So the algorithm knows what types of content you've engaged with in the past, and then it tries to show you more of that type of content with the purpose of keeping you on platform for longer. The objective, like I just said, is for each user to have an enjoyable experience. Our goal as a business or as a brand is to get engagement from our followers with every post that we're posting. The more engagement we get, the more the algorithm understands what we're trying to achieve and who we're trying to achieve it from, and then shows our post to more people like that. So while the exact details of these algorithms are top secret, here is a general overview of how they work. So the first thing the algorithms look at is their engagement. So how much users engage with content like yours through likes, comments, and shares. The algorithm then looks at the type of content that you've published. So this can be videos or posts or web links. So things like videos, for example, the algorithm favors videos and will always show a video to more people than it would a static post because us as users prefer to look at videos on social media now. The algorithm also looks at account credibility. So the credibility of the account is things like how many followers you've got, the quality of your content, how much engagement you've had in the past. If you're a new account, this can be one of the biggest challenges when it comes to not beating the algorithm, but playing into the algorithm's hand. Because if you have a brand new account with 0 followers, it does take time to build them up and gain that credibility in the algorithm's eyes. So the best piece of advice there is to post posts that people do engage with. And I'm going to teach you along this webinar how you can do that essentially. The algorithms also look at the timing and demographics, so the time in which you're posting. So 10 years ago, we used to schedule everybody's posts for 7 o'clock at night because we knew that at 7 o'clock at night, dishes were done, kids were hopefully in bed, people were sitting on their couches, opening their phones and checking Facebook for the first or second time that day. That's changed a little bit now. So you do have to play around with what time of the day you're posting. We find from Rush to Marketing, whenever we post on our pages, that when we post around about 3 o'clock in the day or sometimes even 10 o'clock in the morning, that is when we get our maximum reach and our maximum engagement, which always blows my mind because our target customers are business owners. And I would assume between 9 and 5 o'clock, you're too busy doing business and you're not scrolling your social media. So it's just sort of testing out what time of the day is best for you to post. So if you do notice that when you're posting at 9 o'clock at night, you're getting a lot of comments and likes and clicks and stuff like that, then you want to kind of hone your strategy and make sure you're posting often around that time of night. And again, moving forward, I'm going to teach you how to look for those trends and where to look for those trends. So how can we be friends with the algorithm? First of all, we want to post for engagement, and you're going to hear me say this a lot in this webinar. So you're wanting to post in a way that's going to inspire the most likes, comments, shares, clicks, things like that. You also want to post frequently. Again, I'm going to talk shortly, how often should we actually post a week, but you want to keep it in your head that you do need to be posting frequently. You can't kind of post and ghost, which is posting once and then not posting again for a month, or you're going to constantly be catching your tail. You need to be personable and authentic. And I think this is actually the most important piece of the puzzle. I always say to clients, be as open and personable as you are comfortable being. But the idea is, I mean, any of us, we don't open Facebook to be sold a pair of shoes. We open Facebook to connect with friends and family and see what's going on in people's lives and to learn and to be inspired and be entertained. And if you as a brand can appear in that type of way to your followers, they're going to be a lot more susceptible to your messages. They're going to be a lot more inspired to engage with you as well. So try and be as personable and authentic as you can, which sometimes can be a little bit scary. And that can be as easy as if you're doing an informative post or doing a bit of an industry comment, you've got that paired with a video of yourself doing something, or your face or the team's face or something like that. And the fourth bullet point there is just to know your insights and understand what data is actually being collected, and how your posts are performing. At the end of the day, if you're doing more posts that get more engagement, you will have that lovely organic growth that we're all trying to achieve. Okay, I popped some links here on how to actually create your Facebook page, how to create your Instagram business account, and then how to link your Facebook and Instagram. After the webinars, I'll send Tracy through a PDF which will have the clickable links for this. But I thought I'd use this chance just to quickly explain the makeup of a Facebook and Instagram account. So again, whenever I mention Meta, Meta is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, right? So they're two separate entities under one parent. So a Facebook business page is always a child to a personal parent page. So a business page on Facebook is always attached to a personal account. The Rushton Marketing Facebook page is always attached to my Ashley Rushton personal profile account, right? An Instagram account, on the other hand, is its own separate login identity. So sometimes I get questions from people saying, hey, my Facebook business account is attached to my personal account and I don't want it to be. How can I disconnect the two? The short answer is you cannot. It has to have a parent kind of looking after it. And you can have multiple parents there or admins. Whereas on an Instagram accounts for business have got their own usernames and their own passwords. They're their own standalone piece of kit. You can then, since Meta is now, owns Facebook and Instagram, you can actually link your Instagram and Facebook pages together. And when you click the wee link on the presentation, when I send it through, it'll take you a step-by-step on how to do that. Linking your Facebook and Instagram is really, really good because it enables you to post to both places from one place. So you can type your post out and you can spit it out to Facebook and Instagram. So that can be a really good time saver as well. It also enables you to be able to compare metrics at a very easy kind of one-page report sheet, if you will. So you can see, well, Instagram's doing this. People on Instagram like these types of posts. People on Facebook like these types of posts. Okay, now we need to kind of tweak what we're doing on both platforms. There is a sort of structure that we follow with our Facebook and Instagram profiles as well. So this is our best practice that we follow. So on your Facebook pages, the first thing you see is your cover photo. So think of this as your Facebook billboard, if you will. So put the most important thing, the thing that's the most important to your brand in that cover photo. For us, it's just showing the faces of the three of us with the office and the signage outside. If you're a business that's running a sale, for example, you might have a sale banner or something there, but think of that as your Facebook billboard. It's the thing that takes up the most real estate on a profile page, and it's the first thing that someone sees when they come through to the page. The next thing we're looking at is the profile picture. So we always recommend that brands put their logos as their profile picture. The reason for this is when someone is scrolling through their news feed, there's two ways that they've got to identify who you are. One is by your username. So that's typically going to be whatever your brand name is. And the only kind of brand identity visualization they've got there is that profile picture, that tiny little circle. So it's really important that you've got your brand identity or your logo in there as your profile picture. The next thing is your username. That one's quite straightforward. You want to put that as whatever the brand name is. The next is your bio or your intro. So put something in here that really quickly describes who you're here to help and what services you offer, if you will. We have jazzed ours up a little bit with some emojis and stuff like that. And you can do that too, if that's your vibe. But just something very simple. So for us, we've popped in there where, the location where we actually are. We've put in all of our names in there. And then we've put our sort of our key services in there. So someone coming to our Facebook page for the first time can see who we are, what we do, and at a very quick glance. And then most importantly, obviously, is your contact details. So when you're setting up your page, make sure you're adding in your website, your phone number, your address, your email address, those types of things. And make sure you keep them up to date. If you change your mobile number, make sure you go back to your Facebook and change that. On an Instagram account, the layout's quite similar. At the top, you've got your username. Again, that should just be your brand name. Your profile picture, again, should always be your logo. Next on Instagram, you've got what's called your display name. Now this, we're going to go again, might be quite, this is quite important because this is how people can actually find you via search. So you'll notice on ours, we've got Rushden Marketing and a little star, your outsourced marketing department. So if someone on Instagram is searching marketing department, we have a better chance of showing up because that's what's in our display name. It also takes up a bit more space when someone's scrolling through that newsfeed and that's popping up. Your bio on Instagram, again, is really important. So we've followed the same sort of routine. We've got our names and we've got our key services with a few emojis just for a bit of fun. And then you've got your links, which my little arrow on my slideshow should be down a little bit. You can have quite a few links on Instagram as well. So it used to be that you could only have one link in your Instagram bio. And you'll see people saying link in bio and stuff like that on posts. You can add quite a few more now. So we've got our website in there. I think we've got a book an appointment link in there, and then also a link through to our Facebook page. So any key links that you've got, if you're wanting people to go, like if you're running an event, for example, you might want to put the event link in there just to save time for people to get straight to that event and not have to find it on your website. If you've got a landing page with a new piece of research or an interesting article or anything like that, you might want to also pop that in that Instagram links. It's just kind of the most important links, or where you want people to direct traffic to, needs to go in those Instagram page profiles. Okay, we're racing ahead, which is really good. Okay. So we're up to content. So now what we're going to do is we're going to deep dive into, okay, I've set up my Facebook page. Great. Now what? What am I, according to Ashley, what the hell am I actually supposed to be posting on these bloody things to get them to work? Okay, I want you to keep these 4 content pillars in mind, and I want you to make sure that every post you do fits within one of these 4. The first one, our content pillar here, is educational. So I want you to do posts that provide value to followers by offering useful information and demonstrating expertise. So some examples here are tutorials, how-to guides, tips, and industry comments. Now, I'm expecting for you guys, the nature of what you're trying to do, educational posts are going to be probably make up 80 to 90% of what you're going to be posting. So I want you to think of, okay, what do farmers want to hear from me today? What do my stakeholders want to hear from me today? What is, potential funding opportunities? What do these people want to hear from me? Always think of, okay, how can I make someone smarter by reading this? It could be that there's a new article out or there's some industry news that is a bit jargony and wishy-washy, and you're like, I could explain that a lot better. So you might take that piece of article and you might say, okay, here's what this means. Here's how we're interpreting this. 69% of consumers say they engage with branded content on social media to learn something new about products or services. Keep in mind with your educational posts, you're not saying, I can do this. This is what my business does. Come to me because. You're flipping that on its head and you're thinking, okay, what does this person, what pain point can I solve for this person? What does this person need to know from me? From a Rushden Marketing perspective, educational content makes up about 70 to 80% of our posts. What I'm posting with that educational content pillar is, how to check your Google ads, how to improve your SEO ranking on Google, how to update your website, how to create a Facebook page, it's a lot of how-tos. What trends have we got coming up for 2025? So I'm always trying to make my business owners smarter with my educational posts. That positions me as an industry expert so that when they are ready to get a marketing agency in to help them, they come to me because they know that I know what I'm talking about because of all the previous posts. I hope that all makes sense. The next content pillar I want you to really think about is entertaining or entertainment. So capture followers' attention and encourage sharing and engagement. Now, this content pillar circles back to when I said before that we don't open our Facebook pages to be sold a pair of shoes. We open our Facebook pages to learn something, be inspired, and be entertained, right? So if your page can entertain your followers, then you will be rewarded with a ton of engagement. So this is things like humor, using different memes, using behind the scenes glimpses as well. So I imagine a lot of the time people may not understand what your day-to-day life looks like at work. So you can start sharing those behind the scenes sort of glimpses, and that's really entertaining for people. We find that behind the scenes posts tend to do better than any other posts in terms of engagement. It's almost like peeking behind the curtain. And again, that was not something that we could show our customers, before Facebook was invented. It gives us a good opportunity to lift the lid a little bit and show them, okay, if I'm selling shoes, this is how the pair of shoes are made. They arrive, I unpack the box, I do this, da 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 da. The other thing that's really great about behind the scenes glimpses is that it shows your faces in a really authentic way without you having to stand in front of the camera and smile, more or less. So sometimes that can be as easy as setting the phone up on your desk, hitting record, and just going about your day. You might film for 30 seconds, and it might be, maybe it's even a team meeting on time lapse or something like that. And then the caption is, today the six of us sat down and we discussed this, and out of that meeting, we've now got this. So then what you're doing is you're entertaining the follower with the fun sped up time lapse video of a meeting, and you're also providing value to them. So that post then is turned into an educational post because you're telling them what actually came out of that meeting and things that are going to get done. The next content pillar is one that we are seeing massive growth from in the last 12 months. So this is user-generated content. This fosters authenticity, social proof, and community engagement. So this is when you have someone else do a post for you, write a caption, and then you post it on your page. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So you'll see this, you'll see UGC quite a lot on product-based businesses or e-commerce businesses where they have, very very simple to explain. Someone may be using a lip gloss or something and it's not their brand owner doing it, it's a customer. So maybe think about how you can incorporate user generated content into your content strategy because it is a really powerful content pillar as well. Logistically, that one's a little bit more difficult to put together, and I imagine for you guys it's quite difficult. So you can then think of UGC in more of a simple format, which would be things like customer testimonials, stakeholder reviews, or feedback or something like that. Could potentially be photos and videos of people at events. So if you're hosting an event, it could be a nice photo of the crowd with a bit of a one-liner from, I don't know, Robert, who said it was a great event and he learned da 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 da, something like that potentially. 79% of people say user-generated content highly impacts their purchasing decisions. Again, this particular pillar is a bit more relevant to kind of product-based businesses, but it can also certainly be applied to service-based businesses. Actually, a good example for Rushton Marketing a few years back, we sent clients a text, and I said, hey, would you mind doing a quick 20-second video about what it's like to work with us? And they literally held their phones up and they said, oh yeah, Rushton Marketing are great because they do this and they do that and sales have gone up or whatever they said. And then I said, cool, I'm going to post it to my socials if that's okay. And they all said yes, which was great. But that was our way of doing user-generated content. The other really good thing about that It was very, very quick for me to organize. I didn't really have to do anything. They did it all for me. It was only a 20-second video. It was very authentic because it wasn't filmed in a professional studio with professional equipment and hair and makeup all done. It was literally people sitting at their desks telling other people about what it's like to work with us. And that was a really powerful moment for us. So have a think maybe about how you can incorporate that user-generated content into your content strategy. The fourth one here, not sure why that's italicized, is behind the scenes. So I've actually pulled behind the scenes out of that entertaining content pillar and pulled it into its own as well, because like I said before, it is a very, very powerful content pillar. So behind the scenes humanizes your brand and builds emotional connection with your followers. Again, this offers a glimpse into your brand's culture, values, and processes. It allows people to peek behind the curtains and see who you are and really learn and fall in love with the people in your organization and not just the logo and the services that you offer. 87% of people want to see more video content from brands, including behind the scenes videos. So you will hear me talk about videos moving forward as well. But I want you to think, whenever you're thinking behind the scenes, I want you to think videos. So like I said before, maybe you're having a team meeting or you're having an event, you set a camera up somewhere. It doesn't have to be on a fancy tripod. We've done videos before, literally, where the camera is just like leaning against a drink bottle or something like that. And you run that video on time lapse, so it's all sped up. So it kind of looks like scurrying people around the event. And it just gives people a peek behind the scenes. Maybe you're setting up for the event. It could be a little bit with Rush to Marketing, obviously, sometimes we'll do posts of come and make an email with me for this particular client. And I might set the phone up behind me and I'm doing an EDM for somebody, and it shows the design process and it shows the text going in and it shows the email being sent. And then I might circle back later, take a little video of the results that that particular email got for that brand. So it's just showing people, all the processes that go into doing what you do. I think the other thing that makes behind the scenes really powerful is that on social media, people want to see real people, warts and all. It's like we can see through the Instagram staged lunches and pretty fake filters and stuff like that. And we're calling BS on that, basically. People want to see the real you. And I think that's why behind the scenes content can be incredibly powerful, because it lets people see who you are, and it lets them connect with you on a different level. It lets them see that you're authentic, and this is actually the person who's going to help me with whatever my pain point is. And that is a lot more powerful than a graphic with a few bullet points of the services that you offer. So definitely keep in mind how powerful those behind the scenes are. I think for you guys, it's going to be focusing on the content pillar of educational. So try and do, I think probably 80% of your posts are in that educational space, followed by potentially the entertaining and behind the scenes type of content pillars. Leave a wee Q&A to the side there if you're thinking maybe your content pillars need to be made up of something a bit different. Some people, you might want to do all four of them. You might want to do 4 posts a week. One is an educational post, one is an entertaining post, one is a UGC, and one is a behind the scenes. And you could test that out for the next, say, 3 to 6 months. You could then look back on the results of all those posts and you could say, okay, we can see now every time we post a behind the scenes post, it gets a lot more engagement than an entertaining post. So let's, moving forward, only do behind the scenes posts with not so much entertaining. Or you might say, okay, we can see that all of our educational posts, when we do a video of them, the video gets viewed in full. When we do an educational post that is a graphic image with a really long caption, people tend to just skip past that. So we want to focus on educational video. But test these out. As I say, I'm probably picking educational, bit of entertaining, and behind the scenes is going to be where you guys lie, but test it out and then follow up by looking at those metrics moving forward. Edutainment. So if I flick back to this one, how I said education and entertaining typically are the 2 content pillars we work on the most. It does have its own name as well. So edutainment. This is a combination of education and entertainment. If you are too salesy on social media, people will not engage with you. You need to be building relationships and providing value to your followers, and they will reward you with whatever you're wanting them to do afterwards if you are building relationships and providing value to them. Edutainment will also position you as a market leader and make you the go-to person in your field. People will trust your knowledge and credibility, and they will already feel like your best friend through your authentic entertainment and education. So keep that in mind. We have a rule in our office. So we handle, I don't know how many content clients we've got on the books at the moment. I think it's around about 30. Most of those clients we're posting 3 or 4 times a week for them. So that's like, it's a shitload of posts every month that we're doing. Our number one rule, every single post that goes out has to make people smile or make people smarter. And that is our rule. If a post doesn't make someone smile or smarter, it doesn't get posted, it gets done again. And sometimes it's all about how you wrap it up. So you might be, commenting on something that's, kind of dry and it's a bit of a long read. But if you pair that up with a really entertaining video, that's going to get people's attention. That is an ideal post. You've entertained someone and you've educated someone in the same time. So keep that in mind. Always try and make people smile or make people smarter. It's a very easy way to remember that. So the reason for that is, and like I said before, you will hear me talk about engagement heaps in this webinar. When I say the word engagement, I am talking about someone touching your piece of content. So that can be a click, a like, a comment, a share, right? You are always trying to post for engagement. The more engaged, I'll explain how a post goes out, right? Maybe I should have started there. When you post to Facebook or Instagram, a percentage of your followers will have that post appear in their newsfeed. That's what we call organic reach. Okay, so say your organic reach is like 5%, right? You do a post, 5% of your followers have that post appear on their news feeds. If people engage with that post, so if out of that 5%, people are liking, commenting, sharing, touching that post, the algorithm goes, this is an interesting post. Now let's show it to the next 5% of followers. If those 5% of your followers are also engaging and liking and commenting, yada, 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 the algorithm goes, cool, still an interesting post, show it to the next 5%. So the more engagement you get, the more reach you get, the more eyeballs you get on your post. What will happen then is your post will get shown to people outside of your current followers and inspire new people through. This is basically how posts go viral, right? It's all the engagement on those posts. It just keeps shown to more people, more people. The more people you get looking at your post, the more followers you're going to get coming through to like your page. Ultimately, the more sales you're going to get as a result. So this is why I always say you are trying to always post for engagement. And again, engagement is likes, comments, shares. I refer to it as someone's touching that piece of content. So you want someone to touch your content. Hope that all makes sense. Okay, so we've got a few different post types that we can be working with when we're thinking of content. The first type of post we've got is our newsfeed posts. So this is the most standard piece of content, right? These are the ones we see when we're scrolling down the page and sort of, having a snoop around. So this is our newsfeed post. It appears in the main feed of your social media platforms. Typically includes a combination of text and images, videos, links, or other elements. The length of a newsfeed post can vary depending on the platform and the content being shared. So it could be a short caption accompanied with an image and a video, or it could be a long form post providing more detailed information or storytelling. Now, I do recommend that you test both short captions and longer captions and see what your audience engage with. Again, I'm going to show you how to check all that stuff later. For Rush to Marketing, for example, we tend to do some shorter and some longer. We don't do too many longer captions in a row because people don't always read the whole thing, right? Sometimes we have a lot of stuff to say, so it has to be a longer caption, but we always sort of tend to tie it in with a shorter caption afterwards. So definitely test for yourselves and test what your audience want to see. Engagement. So users can engage with newsfeed posts in your pretty typical ways, right? By liking, commenting, sharing, or saving them. Um, Visibility. So a newsfeed post gets displayed chronologically or algorithmically in users' feeds based on various factors such as relevance, engagement, and recency. So these are your most typical kind of post placement there. The next one we're going to talk about is stories. So stories are the little cards that appear at the very top of the news feed. So when you first open Facebook or first open Instagram, the stories are the little ones that scroll across horizontally at the top. Um, Stories, when you tap on them, they're full screen and they're vertical. So they take up the whole screen of your phone, basically. So full screen images or videos, they do disappear after 24 hours as well. So if you load a story on now, it will be gone this time tomorrow. They don't last forever unless you save them in Instagram. That's another story. Stories enable you to encourage extra engagement from your followers because there's a lot of interactive things within the story creation settings. So you can be loading polls into your stories. You could be asking people questions in your stories. You could be running quizzes. You can add stickers. There's a bunch of different things that you can do within the stories creator that enables you to encourage a little bit of extra engagement from your followers. Um, so how can people engage with your stories? So they can tap to view it, they can swipe to navigate through, like if you've done multiple stories in the day, they can look through them all. They can interact with the features, so they might answer your polls or questions. Um, Stories are one typically that businesses tend to overlook, and you really shouldn't. You should put a lot of energy into your stories. There is a bunch of research in the last couple of years that lets us know that people are not even scrolling down the news feed anymore. So they're jumping in and they're literally just looking at the stories and then they're jumping back out of the app. So you definitely want to be posting to stories as part of your overall content strategy. The thing I really like about stories is that they are full screen. So you are not competing for attention against anybody else at that particular moment. When you're scrolling down the news feed, you're competing with the post before you and after you. In a story, you've got that person's entire attention on you for the duration of that story. The other thing that I really, really like about stories, and I think this is why a lot of us are just looking at stories, is they tend to be more off the cuff, quickly done, raw, authentic, warts and all those sorts of words. And I think that's because we understand they're not there forever. They're gone after 24 hours. So you think, cool, that's kind of a rubbishy photo. Doesn't matter. It's only there for 24 hours, right? But what our followers love stories because of that reason. So again, it is really revealing that our social media followers want to see who the real us is. They don't want to see the perfectly curated professional photos and stuff like that on social media. They want to see essentially who you are, what your values are, and what you stand for. I think when it comes to like, so if you think of your websites, for example, typically you've had, professional photographer in for those. Those are your professional headshots, your professionally staged photos with your arm against the fence or whatever it is. Certainly has the place on the website. The newsfeed posts tend to be still quite curated to an extent. So they're still a staged photo, still a pretty graphic that you've done. It's still a curated version of yourself. Whereas on stories, that tends to be essentially who you are. And I think that's why people are looking at stories a lot more because they want, like, people are craving that realness from brands and not that curated version of who we're trying to put out there. The next type of post we've got is a reel. So when I say reels, I'm talking about videos. So reels are the most viewed type of content in the last 4 or so years. So reels are short form videos, typically less than 30 seconds long. They're filmed portrait on a mobile phone, so they're filmed up that way, not that way. They're entertaining, engaging, they've got informative content. Sometimes there's music or text overlays or effects or something like that, but they are what users want to see on social media. Users can engage with reel posts by liking, commenting, sharing, or saving them, so similar to your newsfeed posts. Reels can pop up in a few different places as well. So on Instagram, for example, there is a specific reel tab that people can swipe through. Also, some reels will appear on the newsfeed page as well. Facebook, they're getting a little bit mixy muddly, kind of appearing here, there, and everywhere. But basically, what's happened in the last 5 or so years is that users are really, really favoring short form videos. And the algorithms are rewarding people who post short form videos because, and I don't know if you guys are like me, but if you open Instagram Reels and you start scrolling the Reels and you're looking at the videos, and before you know it, 3 hours has passed. And you're like, Christ, what did I just look at? But as a brand, we say to our clients, whenever you can post a video, post a video. If it's a photo, can you turn that into a video somehow? Cool, that's a photo of you sitting at your desk. Could that be a wee short video with a funny caption on top of it? Whenever you can, post a video, 100%. Those reels can also be shared to your stories, for example, so you get a bit of cross-pollination there as well. I've popped a link in the slide here about Reels, which covers a lot more in depth, what goes into them and why they're so important. But I definitely want you to keep in mind that whenever you can, please try and post a video. Tracy, how are we going for time? Are we stopping at 10 to or 1?
Yeah, about now would be a good time
Yep,
to finish
perfect.
and answer a couple of questions if that's all right. We are planning to wrap up at 1, so people can get on with their day. But we have a couple of questions. If anybody else has anything, please pop it in the Q&A. And if we don't get to it today, we will make sure to get to it tomorrow. So you've referred a couple of times to posting often. Are you talking about reels and posts, or are stories enough? Is there any format that we should be favoring?
And I think that's on my next slide, which I'm going to keep you
Oh,
all on the edge of your seat and have you coming back tomorrow to find out.
good idea. We'll be back. And then I've also noticed, so this is a personal question for me, but there's a new option on the Instagram profile where you have your little picture and
Mhm.
you can put a comment in. What is happening there? What's that about?
I actually don't think that's going to stick around for too long. We're not using it for our clients. We've seen it there and have just kind of gone, cool, another little feature we're testing out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's more of like a quick thought bubble, like I'm in a good mood today, or check this out or whatever. But I don't put too much pressure on yourself to figure that one out. I don't think it's going to stick around long.
Yeah. Okay. Um, you've mentioned a couple of statistics throughout. Where does that information come from?
So the statistics in there, all across the place. So I've got the whole resource sheet as well if you want to send it through. I look at a whole lot of social media examiner is really good for different stats. There were some stats that did come out of New Zealand, I think the end of last year as well. That was, yeah, surveyed a bunch of us here in the country to get some of those up-to-date stats. But there's statistics up the wazoo if you Google anything, yeah, and find it there.
Um, LinkedIn seems an intelligent news feed. Do the same rules apply with LinkedIn? Would you be familiar with that one?
LinkedIn seems, what was it?
Um,
An intelligent news feed. Potentially referring to the fact that LinkedIn is more of a is more that professional space. And actually, for the types of organizations that we've got here today, don't underestimate LinkedIn as well. Potentially could be quite a nice social media platform for you guys to test and try. Um, I'm not sure what you mean by intelligent newsfeed. Potentially, the type of content going out there is a lot more professional and intelligent in nature. Whereas over on Facebook and Instagram, I'm encouraging you to be more personable and authentic. Yes, and more professional is what Wendy said. Yeah, so definitely on LinkedIn is a lot more professional, facts and figures, and definitely putting on your professional best foot. Whereas on Facebook and Instagram, what gets you the better cut through is to be more personable and authentic. Yeah. So potentially could test out both as well and see where you get better results and better cut through.
it could be an interesting platform to engage with the people who sit behind funding organisations as well. That might be
Yeah,
something that catchment groups could use.
a
So
good
we've
point.
got time for one more question before we wrapped up. So you mentioned edutainment and developing that BFF situation through your authenticity, which obviously boosts engagement. Once you start getting that engagement, like the comments on the post and the messages coming through, how fast do we need to be replying or engaging back with those people?
Relatively quickly. We're very, very demanding as social media users, and we do expect replies quickly. Um, Once a day, just flick through your comments and reply to the ones that you would like to reply to. Definitely encourage you to reply to comments. Messages, same. At the end of the day, before you go home, just check through those messages and make sure you treat them almost like your emails. Make sure everyone is replied to. Yeah. You can have I'm not a fan of them personally, but you can have automatic replies popping up on Facebook, for example. If someone sends a message, they get an automated reply back that says, here's our phone number, click here if you want to know more about this or do this. I personally don't like them. We don't use them for our clients. We prefer to have that more personal touch. So, hey, thank you so much. We've got your message. Passing it on to Tracy, she'll get in touch, or here's our phone number or whatever it is. But it can become a time thing. If you're getting overwhelmed with messages, you may well want to set up automated replies. We're just big fans of that personal touch. I think so much of the world is automated now. It's
Yes.
nice to have that one-on-one connection with people. That's what they're asking for on social media. So you gotta kind of give them that.
Okay, and that's where your multiple admins come in, I guess.
Yeah,
If you've got somebody who's on leave, somebody else can pick it up.
100%. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep, yep.
yeah. Perfect. Well, we will pick this up again tomorrow between 12 and 1. Thank you
Mhm.
for your time, Ashley. I really enjoyed that and got a lot out of it, as I'm sure our other participants did as well. And thank you to everybody else who came and for sharing your lunch break with us. So stay safe, everyone, and we will see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.